Jai Dandava Pranams, good morning to everyone here in the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat, West London. We're continuing the reading of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, chapter 3, the glories of Haridas Thakur. So, we left in the text 137 when Srila Haridas Thakur instructed the prostitute in devotional service. So we continue here, 137. Yaya Yaya Sri Chaitanya Yaya Nityananda Yaya Sri Advaita Chandra Yaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Guru Varga Ki Jai. Dandavas to all the devotees worldwide Ki Jai. Forgive my pronunciation. Tomorrow, Gadadhar Pandit will continue the reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay. So, text 137. Prabhu, you have the page? Yes. 137, Antya-lila, chapter 3. Nirantara namalao karetulasi savana achirat pavetave krishnera charana. Chant the Hare Krishna mantra continuously and render service to the Tulasi plant by watering her and offering prayers to her. In this way, you will very soon get the opportunity to be sheltered at the lotus feet of Krishna. This is Haridas Thakur instructing the prostitute. Eta bolitare nama upadesha kore utiya chalila takura boli hari hari. After thus instructing the prostitute about the process of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Haridas Thakur stood up and left, continuously chanting Hari Hari. Tavesai Vesya Gurura Antya-lila Grihavita Jeva Chila Brahmanere Dila. Thereafter, the prostitute distributed to the Brahmanas whatever household possessions she had, following the order of her spiritual master. Mata mudhi eka bastre rahila sei gore ratridine tina laksha nama grahana kore. The prostitute shaved her head clean in accordance with Vaishnava principles and stayed in that room wearing only one cloth. Following in the footsteps of her spiritual master, she began chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 300,000 times a day. She chanted throughout the entire day and night. Tulasi sevana kore charvana upavasa indriyada mana haila premere prakasha. She worshipped the Tulasi plant, following in the footsteps of her spiritual master. Instead of eating regularly, she chewed whatever food she received as alms. And if nothing was supplied, she would fast. Thus, by eating frugally and fasting, she conquered her senses. And as soon as her senses were controlled, symptoms of love of Godhead appeared in her person. Prasidha Vaishnavi Haila Parama Mahanti Bada Bada Vaishnava Tanra Darshanete Janti. Thus, the prostitute became a celebrated devotee. She became very advanced in spiritual life, and many stalwart Vaishnavas would come to see her. Purport. Stalwart, highly advanced Vaishnavas, devotees, are not interested in seeing prostitutes, but when a prostitute or other fallen soul become a Vaishnava, stalwart Vaishnavas are interested in seeing them. Anyone can be turned into a Vaishnava if he or she follows the Vaishnava principles. A devotee who follows these principles is no longer on the material platform. Therefore, it is one's strict adherence to the principles that should be considered, not the country of one's birth. Many devotees join our Krishna consciousness movement from Europe and America, but one should not therefore consider them European Vaishnavas or American Vaishnavas. A Vaishnava is a Vaishnava and should therefore be given all the respect due a Vaishnava. Vesyara charitra deki loke chamatkara, haridasera mahima kohe, kori namaskara. Seeing the sublime character of the prostitute, everyone was astonished. Everyone glorified the influence of Haridas Thakur and offered him obeisances. Purport. It is said, Phalena parichiyate. One is recognized by the result of his actions. In Vaishnava society, there are many types of Vaishnavas. Some of them are called Goswamis, some are called Swamis, some are Prabhus, and some are Prabhupada. One is not recognized, however, simply by such a name. A spiritual master is recognized as an actual guru when it is seen that he has changed the character of his disciples. Haridas Thakur actually changed the character of the professional prostitute. People greatly appreciate this, and therefore they all offer obeisances to Haridas Thakur and glorified him. Ramachandra Kana Aparadha Villa Kaila Sei Villa Brikshahanya Agete Palila. By inducing a prostitute to disturb Haridas Thakur, Ramachandra Khan caused a seed of offense at his lotus feet to germinate. This seed later became a tree, and when it fructified, Ramachandra Khan ate its fruits. Maha Aparadera Phala Adbhuta Katana Prastava Panyakahi Sunabhaktagana. This offense at the lotus feet of an exalted devotee has resulted in a wonderful narration. Taking advantage of the opportunity afforded by these incidents, I shall explain what happened. O devotees, please listen. Sahajay Avaishnava Ramachandra Kana Haridasera Aparadhe Nahaila Asura Samana. Ramachandra Khan was naturally a non-devotee. Now, having offended the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, he became just like a demoniac atheist. Vaishnava Dharma Ninda Kore, Vaishnava Apamana, Bahudinera Aparadhe Paila Parinama. Because of blaspheming the cult of Vaishnavism and insulting the devotees for a long time, he now received the result of his offensive activities. Nityananda Gosai Gaude Jave Aila Prema Pracharite Tave Brahmite Lagila. When Lord Nityananda returned to Bengal to preach the cult of Bhakti, love of Godhead, he began touring all over the country. Prema Pracharana Ara Pasanda Dalana Duikarye Avaduta Korena Brahmana, for two purposes: to spread the cult of Bhakti and to defeat and subdue the atheists. How do you say that? Atheists. Lord Nityananda, the most dedicated devotee of the Lord, moved throughout the country.
That sounds like a group like Gurudev. He's the most dedicated.
As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, Paritranaya sadunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhami yuge yuge. Lord Krishna appears in every millennium for two purposes, namely to deliver the devotees and kill the non-devotees. His devotees also have two similar purposes: to preach the Bhakti cult of Krishna consciousness and defeat all kinds of agnostics and atheistic demons. Nityananda Prabhu carried out the order of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this way, and those who strictly follow Nityananda Prabhu perform the same activities. There are two classes of devotees. One is called Gostyanandi and the other is called Bhajanandi. Bhajananandi. A devotee who does not preach but always engages in devotional activities is called Bhajananandi. Whereas a devotee who not only is expert in devotional service, but who also preaches the cult of Bhakti and defeats all kinds of agnostics, is called a Gostyanandi. Sarvagnya Nityananda Aila Tare Gore, Asiya Vasila Durga Mandapa Upare. Lord Nityananda, who is omniscient because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, came to the house of Ramachandra Khan and sat down on the altar of the Durga Mandapa. Purport. Well-to-do Hindu gentlemen construct their houses with a place called the Durga Mandapa for the worship of the goddess Durga. There, they generally held worship of the goddess every year in the month of Aswina, October. Ramachandra Khan possesses such a Durga Mandapa at his residence. Aneka Loka Jana Sange Angana Varila Pitara Haite Ramachandra Sevaka Pataila. When the Durga Mandapa and courtyard were filled with crowds of men, Ramachandra Khan, who was inside the house, sent his servant to Lord Nityananda. Sevake bole Goswami mora pataila kana grihastera gore tomara diva vasestana. The servant informed Lord Nityananda, "My dear sir, Ramachandra Khan has sent me to accommodate you in some common man's house." Goyalara Gosala Haya Atyanta Vistara Ihan Sankirna Stala Tomara Manusya Apara. You might go to the house of a milkman, for the cow shed is spacious, whereas the space here in the Durga Mandapa is insufficient because you have many followers with you. Vitore Achila Suni Krodhe Bahirila Ata Hasi Goswami Kahite Lagila. When Nityananda Prabhu heard this order from the servant of Ramachandra Khan, he became very angry and came out. Laughing very loudly, he spoke as follows. Satakohe, Ei Gore Mora Yogi Anaya, Milecha Go Vadha Kore, Tara Yogi Ahaya. Ramachandra Khan has spoken rightly. This place is unfit for me. It is fit for cow-killing meat-eaters. Eta vole krodhe gosani utila Antya-lila. Taredanda dite se gramena rahila. Having said this, Lord Nityananda stood up and left in an angry mood. To chastise Ramachandra Khan, he did not even stay in that village. Ihan Ramachandra Kana Sevake Antya-lila Goswami ya Ahan Vasila Tanramati Kodaila. Ramachandra Khan ordered the servant to dig up the dirt in the place where Nityananda Prabhu has sat. Gumaya Jale Lepila Savamandira Prangana Tavu Ramachandrera Mana Nahaila Prasana. To purify the Durga Mandapa temple and the courtyard, Ramachandra Khan sprinkled and smeared it with water mixed with cow dung, but still his mind was unsatisfied. Dashubriti kore Ramachandra Jarena Deya kore Krudha Hanya Mlecha Ujira Haila Tara Gore. Jai Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhar Yuki. Ramachandra Khan's business was questionable, for he tried to avoid paying income tax to the government. Therefore, the government's minister of finance was angry and came to his residence. Well, maybe you can give darshan of the Lord. Asi say Durga Mandapeva Sakaila Abadye Badhakori Mamsa Segore Randaila. The Mohammedan minister made his residence in the Durga Mandapa of Ramachandra Khan. He killed a cow and cooked the meat at that very place. Triputra Sahita Ramachandrere Bandiya Taragare Grama Lute Tina Dina Rahija. He arrested Ramachandra Khan along with his wife and sons, and then he continuously plundered the house and village for 3 days. So this was the Mohammedan minister who did that. Sei gore tina dina kore amedia randana aradina savalanya karila gamana. In that very room he cooked the flesh of a cow for 3 consecutive days. Then the next day he left, accompanied by his followers. Jati dana jana kanera sakala laila bahudina parjanta grama ujada rahila. The Mohammedan minister took away Ramachandra Khan's position, wealth and followers. For many days the village remained deserted. Mahantera apamana jaidesa grame haya ekayanara doshe sava deshe ujadaya. Whenever an advanced devotee is insulted for one man's fault, the entire town or place is afflicted. Haridasa Thakura Chole Aila Chanda Pure Asija Rahila Balarama Acharya Gaure. Haridas Thakur walked until he came to the village known as Chandrapura. There he stayed at the house of Balaram Acharya. Purport. The village of Chandrapura is situated near the confluence of the river Ganges and Yamuna at Saptagrama in the district of Hugli. Hugli or Hugli?
How's it spelled?
Hugli. Chandrapura is just east of the house of the 2 brothers Hiranja and Govardhan, the father and uncle of Raghunath Das Goswami. In Chandrapura lived Balaram Acharya and Yadunandana Acharya, the priest of these 2 personalities, and when Haridas Thakur went there, he lived with them. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that the name of this village was later changed to Krishnapura. Text 166. Hiranja Govardhana Duimulukera Mayumadura. Hiranja Govardhana Duimulukera Mayumadara Tanrapa Rohita Balarama Nama Tanra. Hiranja and Govardhana were the 2 governmental treasurers in that division of the country. Their priest was named Balaram Acharya. The word Mayumadara refers to a treasurer who keeps accounts of revenue. Haridasera Kripa Patra Tate Bhakti Mane Jatna Kori Takurere Rakila Seigrame. Balaram Acharya, being favored by Haridas Thakur, was very attached to him. Therefore he kept Haridas Thakur in the village with great care and attention. Nirjana Parna Salaya Karena Kirtana Balarama Acharya Grihe Bhikshani Nirvahana. In the village, Haridas Thakur was given a solitary thatched cottage where he performed by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He accepted prasadam at the house of Balaram Acharya. Raghunatha Dasa Balaka Karena Adhyachana Haridasa Thakurere Jai Karena Darshana. Raghunath Das, who was the son of Hiranja Majumandara and was later to become Raghunath Das Goswami, was at that time a boy engaged in study. He came to see Haridas Thakur daily. Haridas Kripa Kore Tahara Upare Sei Kripa Karana Haila Chaitanya Paibare. Naturally, Haridas Thakur was merciful towards him, and because of the merciful benediction of this Vaishnava, he later attained the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Tahan Jaiche Haila, Haridasera Mahima Katana, Vyakyana Adbhuta Kata Sunabhaktagana. At the residence of Hiranja and Govardhana, discourses took place which Haridas Thakur was glorified. I'm going to read it again. At the residence of Hiranja and Govardhana, discourses took place by which Haridas Thakur was glorified. O devotees, please listen to that wonderful story. So who was the son of Raghunath Das? Who was the father of Raghunath Das Goswami? No, it was Hiranja Majumadara. Majumadara.
Oh, okay. Right.
So Hiranja and Govardhana were two governmental treasurers in that division of the country. And their priest was named Balaram Acharya. Right? So they stay in the house in that village. So Balaram Acharya was the priest of Hiranja and Govardhan. And so Balaram Acharya looked after Haridas Thakur there in that village. Hiranja Majumandara was the father of Raghunath Das Goswami. Tahanjai Chekaila Haila Haridasera Mahima Katana Vyakyana Adbhuta Kata Sunabhaktagana. At the residence of Hiranja and Govardhana, discourses took place by which Haridas Thakur was glorified. O devotees, please listen to that wonderful story. Ekadina Balarama Minati Kariya Mayuma de Dera Sabaya Aila Thakure Lanya. One day, Balaramacharya requested Haridas Thakur with great humility to come to the assembly of the Mahumadaras, Hiranja and Govardhan. Thus, Balaramacharya went there with Haridas Thakur. Thakura de Kiduibai Kaila ad Bujatana Payapodi Asanadila Kariya Samana. Seeing Haridas Thakur, the two brothers immediately stood up and fell at his lotus feet. Then with great respect they offered him a place to sit. So you follow, Prabhu? So both Hiranja and Govardhana were brothers. Right? Aneka Pandita Savaya Brahmana Sayana Duibai Mahapandita Hiranja Govardhana. In that assembly were many learned scholars, brahmanas, and respectable gentlemen. The two brothers Hiranja and Govardhana were also greatly learned. Haridasera Guna Sabe Kahe Panchamuke Suniyata Duibai Pailabadhadu Suke. Everyone there began to speak of Haridas Thakur's great qualities as if they had 5 mouths. Hearing this, both brothers were extremely happy. Tina Laksanama Thakura Karena Kirtana Namera Mahima Utaila Pandita Gana. It was mentioned in the assembly that Haridas Thakur chanted the holy names of Krishna 300,000 times a day. Thus, all the learned scholars began to discuss the glories of the holy name. Keha bole nama haite haya papakshaya, keha bole nama haite jivera mokshahaya. Some of them said, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is freed from the reactions of all sinful life. Others said, simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, a living being is liberated from material bondage. Haridasa Kohena, Namera Eidu Palanaya, Namera Pala Krishna Podek Prema Upajaya. Haridas Thakur protested. These two benedictions are not the true result of chanting the holy name. By actually chanting the holy name without offenses, one's awaken his ecstatic love for the lotus feet of Krishna. Evam brata swapriya namak kirtya jatanurago druta chita uchai hatta hasatyato roditi rauti gayati urmadavan nityati lokabhya bahya. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Purport. For an explanation of this verse, Bhagavad Gita 11.2.41 may consult chapters 7, text 94 of the Adi-lila. So that's a verse from the Bhagavad Gita 11.2.40. Text 180. Anusangika palanamera mukti papanasha tahara dristanta yaiche surjera prakasha. Liberation and extinction of the reaction of sinful lives are two concomitants by bright products of chanting the holy name of the Lord. An example is found in the glimpse of morning sunlight. And there is a very long sloka from a verse from the Padyavali 16. As the rising sun immediately dissipates all the world's darkness, which is deep like an ocean, so the holy name of the Lord, if chanted once without offenses, can dissipate all the reactions of a living being's sinful life. All glories to the holy name of the Lord, which is auspicious for the entire world. Eis lokera arta kore panditera gana, sabe kohe tumikaha arta vivarana. After reciting this verse, Haridas Thakur said, "O learned scholars, please explain the meaning of this verse." But the audience requested Haridas Thakur, "It is better for you to explain the meaning of this important verse." Haridasa Kohena Jaiche Sujera Udaya Nahaite Arambe Tamera Hayaksaya. Haridas Thakur said, as the sun begins to rise, even before visible, it dissipates the darkness of night. Chaura Preta Raksa Shadira Vayahaya Rasa Nasa Udaya Haile Dharma Karma Adi Parakasha. With the first glimpse of sunlight, fear of thieves, ghosts, and demons immediately disappears. And when the sun is actually visible, everything manifests, and everyone begins performing his religious activities and regulative duties. Aiche namo dayarambe papadira adiraksaya udaya kaile Krishna pade haya prema udaya. Similarly, the first hint that offenseless chanting of the Lord's holy name has awakened dissipates the reactions of sinful life immediately. And when one chants the holy name offenselessly, one's awakens to service in ecstatic love at the lotus feet of Krishna. Mukti tucha phala haya namavase haite. Liberation is the Liberation is the insignificant result derived from a glimpse of awakening, of offenseless chanting of the holy name. And there is another verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. While dying, Antya-lila chanted the holy name of the Lord, intending to call his son Narayana. Nevertheless, he attained the spiritual world. What then to speak of those who chant the holy name with faith and reverence? That's a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 6.249. Je mukti bhakta nalaya se Krishna chahe dite. Liberation, which is unacceptable for a pure devotee, is always offered by Krishna without difficulty. My devotees do not accept Salokya, Sasti, Sarupya, Samipya, or oneness with me, even if I offer these liberations, in preference to serving me. This verse is spoken by Lord Kapila, an avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.29.13. Text 190. Gopala Chakravarti Nama Ekayana Mayumadera Gore Se Arinda Pradana. At the house of Hiranya and Govardhana Mayumandara, a person named Gopala Chakravarti was officially the chief tax collector. Gode Rahi Patsaha Age Arinda Girikore Baralaksa Mudra Se Patsara Tanye Bore. This Gopala Chakravarti lived in Bengal. His duty as a chief tax collector was to collect 1,200,000 coins to deposit in the treasury of the emperor. Parama Sundara Pandita Nutana Jauvana Namabase Mukti Sunina Haila Sahana. He had a handsome bodily features, and he was learned and youthful, but he could not tolerate the statement that simply by glimpsing the awakening of the Lord's holy name, one can attain liberation. Krudha Hanya Bole Sei Sarosha Vachana Babu Kera Siddhanta Suna Pandite Ragana. This young man, Gopala Chakravarti, became very angry upon hearing the statements of Haridas Thakur. He immediately criticized him. O assembly of learned scholars, he said, just hearing the conclusion of the emotional devotee. Koti janme Brahma Gyane Jai Mukti Naya Eikohe Namabase Sei Mukti Haya. After many millions upon millions of births, when one is completely in absolute knowledge, one still may not attain liberation. Yet, this man says that one may attain it simply by awakening of a glimpse of the holy name. Haridasa Kohena Kene Karaha Samsaya Sastre Kohe Namabasa Matre Mukti Haya. Haridas Thakur said, why are you doubtful? The revealed scripture said that one can attain liberation simply by a glimpse of offenseless chanting of the holy name. Bhakti Sukha Age Mukti Ati Tuchahaya Ataeva Bhaktagana Mukti Nahilaya. For a devotee who enjoys the transcendental bliss of the devotional service, liberation is most insignificant. Therefore, pure devotees never desire to achieve liberation. And there is another verse from the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. My dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in that ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness, including even Brahmanda. including even Brahmananda, to be like the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. This is the verse quoted from the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. Vipra kohe namavase yadi muktihanaya tabe tomara nakat koti karaha nishchaya. Gopala Chakravarti said, if one is not liberated by namavasa, then you may be certain that I should cut off your nose. This is here. Haridasa kohena yadi namavase muktinaya tabe amaranaka katimu eisunichaya. Then Haridas Thakur accepted the challenge offered by Gopala Chakravarti. If by namavasa liberation is not available, he said, certainly I shall cut off my nose. Sunisabha sad utekore hahakara mayumadara seivi prekarila dikara. All the members of the assembly who had heard the challenge were greatly agitated, and they got up, making a tumultuous sound. Hiranya and Govardhan Mayumandara both immediately chastised the Brahmana tax collector. Balai Purohita, Tore Karila Vartsana, Gata Patiya Murka Tunyi Bhakti Kanhayana. The priest named Balaram Acharya chastised Gopala Chakravarti. You are a foolish logician, he said. What do you know about the devotional service of the Lord? Haridasa Takuri Tunyi Kaila Apamana Sarvanasha Havatora Nahave Kalyana. You have insulted Haridas Thakur. Thus, there will be a dangerous position for you. You should not expect anything auspicious. Suni Haridasa Tabe Utiya Chalila Mayumadara Seivi Pretyaga Karila. Then Haridas Thakur got up to leave, and the Mayumadaras, the masters of Gopala Chakravarti, immediately dismissed Gopala Chakravarti from their service. Sava Sahite Haridasera Padila Charane Haridasa Hasikohe Madura Bacharane. With all the members of the assembly, the two Mahumadaras fell at the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was smiling, however, and he spoke in a sweet voice. Toma Savara dosa nahi e anya brahmana taradosa nahi tanra tarka nistamana. None of you are at fault, he said. Indeed, even this ignorant so-called brahmana is not at fault, for he is accustomed to dry speculation and logic. Tarkera gochara nahe namera mahatma kota jahaite janivese eisavattatva. One cannot understand the glories of the holy name simply by logic and argument. Therefore, this man cannot possibly understand the glories of the holy name. Jaha Gore Krishna Karuna Kushala Savara Amara Sambande Dukkha Na Hauka Kahara. All of you may now go to your homes. May Lord Krishna bestow his blessings upon you all. Do not be sorry because of my being insulted. This is Haridas Thakur telling everyone. Purport. From this statement by Haridas Thakur, it is understood that a pure Vaishnava never takes anyone's insult seriously. This is the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Trinadapi sunichana tarorapi sahisnuna amanina manadena kirtanija sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. A Vaishnava is always tolerant and submissive like trees and grass. He tolerates insults offered by others, for he is simply interested in chanting the holy name of the Lord without being disturbed. Tabe se hiranya dasaniya gore aila, se brahmane niya dwara mane kaila. Then Hiranya Dasa Majumadara returned to his home and ordered that Gopala Chakravarti not be admitted therein. And one last verse to finish this pastime. Dina dina vitare sei viprera kusta haila ati ucha nasatara galiya padila. Within 3 days, the Brahmana was attacked by leprosy, and as a result, his highly raised nose melted away and fell off. That was due to the offense to Haridas Thakur. So we finish for today, and tomorrow Gadadhar Pandit might reassume the reading with all commentaries. So if anyone has any question about that reading, so you can ask him. Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Please forgive my pronunciation. It was terrible. My Danda Pranam to all the devotees worldwide ki Jai. Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Harinama Sankirtan ki Jai. We can reassume the reading of Revealed Truth tomorrow because it's late now. Do you want to chant Hariharaya Nama Krishna?
Sure. Hariharaya Nama Krishna.
Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama. Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha.
Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan.
Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinath Madhura Mohana.
Giridhari Gopinath Madhana Mohana.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhakta Raghunatha.
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhakta Raghunatha.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Raghunatha.
Jai
Jai
Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Jaha Hoite Vikrama Shri Purana.
Jaha Hoite Vignana Sarista Purana.
Jai Gosai Kori Jai Gosai Jamuri Taradasa.
Jai Gosai
Samsabara Padari
Guru Vaishnava Pare
Jai Saparikashi Shri Guru Govinda Sundar Radhagiri Haraji Ki
Jai.
Shri Pashi Sri Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Shri Pashi Bhakti Shri Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Jai Om Shri Pad Bhagavan Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Shri Guru Vaki Ki Jai Namashari Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Skoti Oshavi Ki Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Jai Bhakti Bhagavan Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Shri Dev-Goswami Ki Jai Jai Vishwavaranya Shri Bhakti Jai Vishwavaranya Shri Bhakti Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Anantakosi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Goswami Chapter Ki Jai Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai It's all I go Premanande
Hari Hari. The top and bottom, right? When you turn it off, the top and bottom. Oh, Krishna Chaitanya.